All episodes of A Trial by Podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only. Much to their parents' dismay, neither host is a lawyer, journalist, or investigator. Just two people with microphones and Wi-Fi. All actions discussed are alleged, and all parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. For the full legal mumbo-jumbo, check the show notes.
For nearly 50 years, Gisèle Pelicot believed that she was living an ordinary life. A long marriage, grown children, grandchildren, and a quiet retirement in the south of France. But in 2020, a police investigation revealed a truth so unimaginable that it would shock not only Gisèle and her family, but the entire world. For almost a decade, Gisèle's husband had been secretly drugging her with powerful sedatives, leaving her unconscious night after night. While she slept, he raped her and invited dozens of strangers into their home to do the same while he recorded. For years, Gisèle had been struggling with medical symptoms like memory loss, exhaustion, and mysterious illnesses, and doctors couldn't find any explanation for it all. In hindsight, her symptoms weren't due to any mysterious illness. They were evidence of a crime happening in plain sight. By the time authorities uncovered the truth, investigators had identified more than 70 men connected to the assaults and documented years of abuse carefully recorded by the man that Gisèle trusted most, her husband Dominique, to whom she had been married for almost half a century. This is a story of betrayal, survival, resilience, and the case that forced an entire country to confront the reality of hidden violence. This is the story of a woman refusing to stay silent, a woman determined to make shame change sides. Welcome back to the pod, everybody. I am your host, Kelsey, and I am re-recording this episode. And I'm on the verge of a Menti B. But the good news is that we are almost done with this case. Because I don't know about you guys, but this case has been weighing on me way too heavily. And I am looking forward to moving on from it. It's a really important case. It's very interesting. But I cannot wait to not think about it for a long time after this. So thank you guys for sticking around and listening. This is going to be a shorter episode. We don't have that much more to go through. It'll probably only be 25 or 30 minutes. But remember, we have our normal episode tomorrow on Tuesday, and we picked a very specific case that is a little bit more like lighthearted, fun. I mean, it's still sad. Don't get me wrong. It's still sad, but a little bit, we're going to have some laughs tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day. So make sure to listen tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoy. But with that, we're going to dive right back in because I want to get this over with. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So we are starting off today with Ludovick Blemeur, a 39-year-old warehouse worker and father of one who was convicted of raping Gisèle Pelicot in late December 2019 while the Pelicots were staying at their daughter's home near Paris. He was convicted of rape and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Now, he acknowledged the sexual encounter, but said that he had not intended to commit rape and described himself as, quote, a collateral victim, end quote, of Dominique, a collateral victim. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. You're a perpetrator. Now, the court also heard that he had later messaged Dominique again about potentially meeting up in the future. So again, he's like, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a victim too. But then after he did it, he's trying to do it again. So I just call bullshit on all of that. Next up, we've got 34-year-old Adrien Longeron. Now, he was a former site manager, and he was convicted of rape in Gisèle's case, and he raped Gisèle in March of 2014. He was later sentenced to 6 years in prison. And like most of these motherfuckers, of course, he's denying rape, and he insists that he thought he was participating in a consensual scenario. And he said that in his view, there was no rape, quote, as long as the husband was present, end quote. And I know I've said it 500 times, but someone's husband cannot consent for them. That's not how it works, okay? Now, the court also heard that he was already serving a 14-year prison sentence for another rape. And of course, this guy is trying to claim that he didn't rape Giselle and he didn't know. But that was really interesting because while he was at trial, he was already serving a 14-year prison sentence for the rapes and abuse of 3 former partners. And he had also expressed just hatred towards women after he learned that he was not the biological father of one of the children that he had raised. That sucks. I don't care. So this guy is like, I didn't mean to rape her. I didn't know it was rape. It's like, really? Because you've already committed rape before. So we think you might just be a rapist, sir. Next up, we've got 67-year-old Didier Sambuchi. Now, he was a retired long-distance truck driver and a father of 2. And he was convicted of raping Giselle in January 2019 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. 2 of these years were suspended. Of course, he denied rape and he said that he was going to the home for what he thought was a consensual encounter, but he adds that he thought that this was going to be strictly a homosexual encounter with Dominique, and he believed that Giselle was just pretending to be asleep. And his wife actually later left him after this, so huzzah to that woman. Next up, we've got Hugues Malago, a 39-year-old Tyler and a father of 2. He was convicted of the attempted rape of Giselle Pellico during a visit to the Pellico home in October of 2019, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He denied the charge and claimed that he had not known that Giselle had been drugged, saying he had only focused on her body and did not look at her face. During the trial, his former partner testified that she later feared that he may have also drugged and assaulted her. She described an incident where she woke up to him attempting to attack her and said she experienced unexplained dizziness for months, though a police complaint was dismissed due to lack of evidence. Next up, we've got Saifeddine Ghabi, a 36-year-old, another long-distance truck driver, and he was found guilty of sexual assault rather than rape and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now, in court, he said that there had been no penetration, and he described his conduct as attempted rape rather than rape, while also acknowledging that he did not have Giselle's consent. He said that he had gone on the online chat rooms just out of boredom, and he described himself as addicted to social media and the internet. And you know what? You don't have those in prison, buddy. So good luck with that. Next up, we've got 30-year-old Hassan Ouamou. Again, doing my best with the names, guys. Now, he was tried in absentia after fleeing France during the investigation, and he was convicted of raping Giselle Pellico and sentenced to 12 years in prison. However, according to The Independent, he is still on the run. So he has not been caught yet, and he also has 13 prior convictions for theft, violence, and weapons and drug offenses. So yeah, this guy's still out there somewhere. So look up, if you can find a picture of him, look it up. And someone needs to turn this man in. Next up, we've got 37-year-old Andy Rodriguez. He was unemployed at the time of the rape, but he had formerly worked as an agricultural worker. He was also a father of 2. Now, he was convicted of the attempted rape of Giselle, and he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He had previous convictions for domestic violence as well. He actually told the court during trial, quote, "As the husband had given me permission, in my mind, she agreed to it," end quote. Sir, it doesn't matter what happens in your mind. It matters what happens in the real world. Now, he contacted Dominique online on New Year's Eve and went to the Pellico home about an hour later, saying that he thought it was part of a consensual sexual scenario between the couple, of course, again and again. Now, the court also heard that Andy had struggled with substance abuse for many years, including alcohol dependence beginning in his early teens and regular cocaine use. Next up, we've got 31-year-old Paul Gravogi. Now, Paul was convicted of raping Giselle during a visit to their home in 2016, and he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He admitted the crime in court, saying that he had not fully understood the seriousness of his actions at the time, but he later acknowledged the assault after seeing the evidence. Now, Paul apologized during the trial, and he told the court that he hoped to train as a pastor in the future. I don't know about you guys. I would say I don't really want this guy as like a spiritual leader, just for me personally. I don't really prefer when rapists act as spiritual or religious leaders. But I don't know. What do you guys think? And if you need more information about what kind of guy Paul is outside of when he's raping women, he also had previous convictions for theft, forgery, and domestic violence. So is this the guy that you want as a religious leader? He's not my first pick, I'll tell you that. Next up, we've got 53-year-old Mathieu Dartus, and he was a former baker. He was convicted of raping Giselle after visiting the Pellico home in October of 2020, and he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Now, he admitted the act, saying that he had taken MDMA, and he believed that he was participating in a consensual scenario with a married couple, though he later acknowledged that Giselle had not been able to consent. Now, testimony during the trial also revealed that he had experienced violence from his stepfather while growing up. Again, that sucks. Sorry that happened to you until you became a bad person. Then I don't really have as much empathy for you. But yeah, it just doesn't give you a good excuse to be a fucking rapist. There is no good excuse to be a fucking rapist. So yeah. Next up, we've got 44-year-old Lionel Rodriguez, a supermarket employee and father of 3 from Carpentras. Now, Lionel was convicted of raping Giselle in December of 2018, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He admitted the act in court, acknowledging that he had never obtained her consent, and he accepted responsibility for the crime, or at least he said he did. During the trial, Lionel apologized to Giselle, and he said that he should have left when he realized she was unconscious. The court also heard that Dominique had previously brought Giselle to the supermarket so Lionel could see her and scope her out beforehand. And I do believe, I'm not 100% certain, but I do believe this is the man who worked at the supermarket where Dominique was later caught for upskirting women. Again, I am not 100% sure on that fact, but I do believe so. Now, testimony revealed that Lionel had experienced sexual abuse as a teen. Again, very sad. Doesn't mean you get to go rape people, okay? Next up, we've got 57-year-old Christian Lescole, a married firefighter and father of 2 daughters. Now, he was convicted of raping Giselle and sentenced to 9 years in prison. He denied rape, and he told the court that his body, not his brain, had committed the assault. I think that's fine, buddy. That's all it just has to be your body. But yeah, that's a really smart defense. You keep going with that fucking defense. That's going to work out really well for you. But yeah, he was also accused of possessing child sexual abuse material after Skype exchanges allegedly revealed plans involving underage girls. But he was acquitted on that imagery related charge. Next up, we've got an interesting one. So we have 43-year-old Husamettin Dogan, and he is a father, of course, and he had actually left part-time work to care for his disabled son. Now, he was convicted of raping Giselle in June of 2019, and he was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Of course, he denied the accusation, insisting that he was not a rapist, and he said that he had connected with Dominique in that online chat room, and he went to the Pellico home that same night for what he said he thought was a consensual experience, and he just simply told his wife that he was just going out for the evening. In court, Husamettin acknowledged that Giselle appeared unconscious, but he said that he believed it was part of a staged scenario and claimed that Dominique told him that she had agreed. He said he did not realize that she had been drugged. Now, the court also heard that Husamettin had a troubled upbringing, including time spent in children's homes and a long history of cannabis use beginning in childhood. Now, he had previously been convicted of drug dealing in 2000. So this guy is like, woe is me, my life is hard, and I didn't mean to, and blah, 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 blah. And the reason I said Husamettin is an interesting one is because as of today, as of March 2026, he is the only one that has gone through with filing an appeal, and the appeal went through. I think some of the others tried, but they got denied, but the appeal went through, and so he got resentenced, and guess what, guys? He was originally sentenced to 9 years, and at his resentencing, he got sentenced to 10 years. So he appealed this case, and he tried to argue it, and they're like, you know what, we're going to tack on another year. And if that just doesn't bring you joy, sunshine, and rainbows to your fucking day, I don't know what will. There's a lot of bad things happening in the world today, and if that doesn't cheer you up a little bit that this rapist fucking appealed his conviction and then just got a longer sentence after the appeal, I mean, that is just Mwah, chef's kiss, icing on the cake, cherry on the sundae, absolute masterpiece, absolutely beautiful. I love it so, so much. I really, really, I don't know if it was probably decided by a judge of some sort. And huzzah to that fucking judge. Huzzah. Great work. Great work. Keep doing what you're doing. No notes from me. Yeah, so that one's awesome. Next up, we've got 54-year-old Cyril Delville, and he, according to The Guardian, was a trained butcher whose partner was away on holiday when he assaulted Giselle in September of 2019. Now, he was convicted of rape and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Now, Delville was one of the few who admitted rape, saying that he later understood that he had only obtained the husband's consent and not Giselle's, and he did apologize to Giselle in court. The court also heard evidence that the assault endangered Giselle because she was at risk of not being able to breathe. And so I don't know the details of what that means, but I can only imagine a couple different scenarios of how that could happen. And first of all, not only are they all completely horrific, but it's also one of those things where he's like, yeah, I didn't realize, I thought I had her consent. No, she's not even waking up, and you are risking to the point where she almost can't breathe and she's not even stirring or moving a muscle. So I just don't buy your bullshit excuses and apology. Next up, we've got 72-year-old Jacques Coubeau. He was a retired firefighter from the south of France, and he was convicted of raping Giselle after contacting Dominique through the Coco chat room and traveling to the Pellico home in Mazan. In court, he denied intending to commit rape and claimed that he believed the encounter had been arranged consensually between the couple, though he admitted that this was a naive belief. Judges rejected this whole argument after reviewing the video evidence showing Giselle unconscious during the assault. He explained to the court, quote, "I have a deep respect for women. If my ex-wife were here, she'd say he loves the woman in all her diversity, all her complexity," end quote. Sir, I think you don't know what respect for women means. That's my best guess. I don't think you know what it means. Luckily, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison, so he's got a while to think about that. Next up, we've got 61-year-old Thierry Postat, and he was a refrigerator technician and a father of 3, of course. Now, Thierry was convicted of raping Giselle and possessing illegal child abuse images, receiving a 12-year prison sentence. Investigators discovered hundreds of illicit images on a USB drive after his arrest. He admitted to possessing the images, but he denied committing rape, claiming that he believed that he had been invited to meet a consenting couple and expected Giselle to wake up. During the trial, he said that he had previously participated in sexual encounters and rape arranged by couples where the husband gave the permission. So that sounds like you may have committed rape before. That's what that's sounding like to me. I'm not making any accusations about this man of committed, but it just sounds like there is a possibility, okay? Now, in court, he later stated that after serving his sentence, he hoped to advocate for greater awareness about the importance of clear consent. And while I do believe that we need to increase awareness about the importance of clear consent, I would say you're probably not the best person to be the face of that campaign. That's just me, though. Next up, we've got another Thierry. This is Thierry Parisis, and he was a 54-year-old former construction worker. Now, this Thierry was convicted of raping Giselle in July of 2020, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He had been struggling with severe depression and alcohol misuse following the death of his teenage son in a car accident, and he had actually recently separated from his wife at the time of the crime. And that is absolutely horrible. I can't imagine, losing a child. That no one should ever have to lose a child, especially in such a horrific way. However, again, this does not give you license to commit crimes. Now, Thierry denied intentionally committing rape, claiming that he believed that he had been meeting a consenting couple after connecting with Dominique online. He also suggested that he might have been manipulated or drugged himself, which is weird that they claim this sometimes because all these other guys are not saying that they were drugged, but yeah. During the trial, testimony highlighted his mental health struggles and his difficult family background, including an absent father and a mother who struggled with alcohol dependency. Next up, we've got We've got 69-year-old Joseph Coco. Now, he was actually convicted of aggravated sexual assault, and he was not convicted of rape. So he was sentenced to 3 years in jail, 2 of them suspended, and that's according to The Guardian. Now, apparently, I guess he's a swinger. And he showed up to the Pellicos home in Mazan. And again, he said that he thought this was consensual. He thought this was a threesome. But he says that, quote, after, quote, stroking her backside, end quote, he left because he heard Giselle snoring. And again, not that this guy did the right thing, but he made the best choice out of all the ones we've heard so far. I'll tell you that. Next up, we've got 62-year-old Philippe Leloup, a retired tradesman who was convicted of raping Giselle after responding to Dominique's online messages and going over to their home. In court, he denied knowingly committing rape, and he said that he believed that he had been invited to participate in a consensual sexual encounter. How many times do you guys think I've said that throughout this series? Now, judges determined that Giselle had clearly been incapacitated and unable to consent. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Next up, we've got 37-year-old Boris Moulin, a construction worker who was convicted of raping Giselle after connecting with Dominique on the Coco website. He argued that he believed that he had been invited to take part in a consensual sexual encounter arranged by Giselle's husband. Video evidence and testimony demonstrated that Giselle was unconscious during the assault. Now, Boris was sentenced to 6 years in prison. We got 2 more, guys. We're getting so close. And I know this is going to be a really short episode, but I cannot tell you how excited I am to go over this very last one and to have this be over with. This case has fucked my mind up. It has fucked my mind up. Okay. So number 50, we've got Nizar Hamida. He was a 41-year-old driver from southern France, and he was convicted of raping Giselle after meeting Dominique online and traveling to the couple's home in Mazan. He denied intending to commit rape, and he claimed that he believed that Giselle had, agreed to participate in this consensual threesome, blah, 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 blah. The court concluded that he had knowingly taken part despite obvious signs that she was unconscious. Therefore, he was convicted of rape and sentenced to 6 years in prison. And last but not motherfucking least, we have 40-year-old Karim Sebaoui. Guys, I'm telling you, I am pronouncing all of these wrong. I'm so sorry. I can't look up 51 names. But yeah, remember there's going to be a list in the show notes of all of the names so you guys can, find it there. But yeah, Karim was a 40-year-old manual laborer and a father, and he was convicted of raping Giselle after arranging a meeting with Dominique through the Coco website. During the trial, he claimed that he believed the encounter had been arranged consensually and denied knowingly committing rape. Now, judges ruled that Giselle had clearly been incapacitated and unable to consent. Therefore, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. I'm so glad that's over. I know I apologize that this is such a short episode. We just were not able to get through all of them last time. And there are so many of them, guys. I know this is a short episode, but me and Katie recorded for over 2 hours the last time. I don't remember how long the episode ended up being, but I mean, when it takes you 3 hours to go through the list of men who raped this woman, if that doesn't make your stomach churn, I don't know what would. Now, the last thing that I wanted to touch on is the Coco FR site. So after the trial, the Coco FR site was shut down, and the founder of the website, according to the New York Times, was indicted on multiple different charges. So this guy's name is Isaac Steitel. He's 44 years old, or he's probably 45 now. This is 2025 that he was indicted. Now, there's a whole list of charges, but some of these charges include complicity in drug trafficking, complicity in the possession and distribution of child pornography, aggravated pimping, and aggravated money laundering. And that is a direct quote from the New York Times. So far, what I'm able to find on the case is that this website has been linked to more than 23,000 sexual abuse cases in France alone. Okay? 23,000. Well, they say sexual abuse and other cases. So, some of them might be more like drug trafficking cases. But yeah, that's a fuck ton. And while this is good news that they, arrested this guy, that the site is shut down, 5 more are going to pop up in its place. What's scary about this is not that the site is connected to all of these. It's that there's such a demand for a site like this. You know what I mean? Now, that is pretty much all of it, guys. I think we are wrapping this up. The last thing I wanted to know is that I read that Dominique Pellico is currently shopping around for publishers because he wants to tell his side of the story. And I am going to ask publishers to not publish his fucking side of the story. We don't need it. I don't need his side of the story, okay? I don't give a fuck about his side of the story. And if they do publish it, if some fucking shithole company publishes that, don't read it, guys. Do not give your money over to this man, okay? And with that, I have to go because I can't do this anymore with this case. We'll be back tomorrow. We have, again, a fun episode for you guys. I think you're going to like it. We had a good time doing it. I think it's going to be a good break from the absolute despair and darkness that this case was. And yeah, I hope to see you then. Remember to make sure you're following us wherever you're listening. If you've never left us a rating, if you could leave us a 5-star rating, that would be amazing. And if you want to listen ad-free, you can subscribe on Patreon. And the link to Patreon is in the show notes. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for going on this deep fucking horrific ride with me for the 100th episode extravaganza that turned into 4 episodes. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for being here. And bye.